If you're on the fence about potentially using a CRM, maybe you don't even know what a CRM stands for, well, stick around because today Tim Musch, the Business Development Director over at MarketSharp, stops by to share with us a couple ways that you can exploit the most important asset you've got in your business, your data. Hope you enjoy this Tools of the Trade lesson. Hey everyone, and welcome back to another Contractor Success Academy lesson. Today we've brought back a friend of ours, Tim Musch from MarketSharp. Tim, thank you for being here with us today, sir.
You're very welcome, Mark. Happy to be here.
Yeah, it's awesome to bring back guests. I know we've spoken at length in the past about business, and a lot of people want to see, specifically what a platform like MarketSharp can do. You've got a great talk lined up for us today. And without getting into much of a debate, sales versus marketing. I know within a business, we all, believe different areas to be, assets. I've always said that sales is a huge asset because it generates revenue. And then you've got the whole, well, you don't have sales unless you have leads. And so marketing, should get the credit. But from your perspective, I think in the world of CRMs, data is that huge, mine of information that people are sitting on that they're not really doing a whole lot with. Am I right?
You're absolutely right. That's, I have a slide in here we'll get to in a second where I like to call data the new currency. It really is. It's really something you can leverage in many ways, and many people are under leveraging it for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, that's good, Tim. Before we kind of get into it, can you just give us, for anyone who maybe hasn't seen your first episode on the Contractor Success Academy, just quickly, I know you're business development director at MarketSharp, but just a quick high level, who you are, what you do at MarketSharp, and while you do that, you can share your screen.
Again, my name is Tim Musch, Director of Business Development at MarketSharp, and been at this for a while. As a matter of fact, in a slide or two, I'm going to show you a little bit of the evolution of MarketSharp. It actually started back in the 80s of all times. So yeah, I've been doing this a while, and our company is located in La Crosse, Wisconsin. We've been doing this for a long time. Got about 4,000 to 5,000 companies that have acquired a version of MarketSharp over the years. We also get involved in numerous industry educational initiatives. And that's frankly how we built our business, just to try to provide quality education to the industry. And we found it's been very helpful. And, people say, hey, we'd like to learn more about what you guys do. And that gives us opportunity to share what we've created over the past few years. So really what's going on here in terms of a timeline is something like this. If you look at that computer on the left there, and if you look over my shoulder, you'll see that very computer is over my shoulder. It's kind of blurred right now. But that's a computer I bought back in about 1987 to try to help us in our window replacement business. Frankly, I bought that computer to help create ads for a newspaper. There was a program back then called All This PageMaker, made it very easy to lay out ads, so I bought it to create ads. There was a programming language on the computer that I was kind of curious of, so I dug in a little bit, learned a little bit about it, and decided, gosh, I'm going to try to figure out how to create a program that can help us in more aspects of our business than just creating ads. So over the next few years, about 3 years, I created something that, now is known as a CRM. Back then, those letters weren't even put together.
That's right.
And it kind of evolved from there. One day, a window supplier came into my office trying to sell us their windows and said, what is that? And I said, well, that box there is a computer. And he said, oh, really? What does it do? So I showed him. He says, wow, would you mind showing my boss this? So I said, sure, why not? So up to Minneapolis I go and show his boss. And his boss said, hey, I got a dealer meeting coming up. You want to show this contraption to our dealers? And I went, okay, I guess. So I remember being in front of a group of about 100 dealers in a hotel that's now where the Mall of America is in Minneapolis. And I had this little 9-inch Macintosh computer in front of the room. I talked to these people for 6 hours about this. I don't know where I got the words. But what happened is at the end of this deal, well, first off, probably most of them thought I was from Mars because this was not really common back then. But at the end of it, 8 of them raised their hand and said, can I have one of those? And I went, well, I guess. And that's how it got started, Mark. Over the years, it evolved to various iterations of the program. And today we have, of course, a web-based version of MarketSharp that's used by a whole bunch of contractors. Frankly, the amount of contractors that we have using MarketSharp last year generated $3.3 billion worth of installed home improvements. So that's a little bit of background about how the whole thing got started.
Wow. Awesome. Well, I appreciate that, Tim. I love hearing that story.
All right, let's get rolling here. Let's start here. And what I mean by here, let's get some good advice from somebody who probably has some good advice in him, Mr. Bill Gates. And he said this a while back. He said the best way to put distance between you and the crowd is to do an outstanding job with, and look what he said there. He didn't say hammers and saws and that stuff. He said information. And I interchanged the word data there. And then he went on. He said it's how you gather it, manage it, and here's the big one. Use this information is going to determine whether you win or lose in the future. Now, when he said that, it was a few years ago. And people probably looked at that quote and went, huh? But I'll tell you what, nobody's going, huh, anymore, because it turned out to be total reality. And that's certainly where we're at right now. As mentioned before, I think data is truly the currency of the future. And we're talking about examples of data as it relates to our businesses. Certainly, you got homeowners around completed jobs. That's data you can get, and you can leverage that. How about unconverted website visitors? There we're talking about things like remarketing, retargeting, however you want to describe that. Next, we got, how about past inquiries not resulting in appointments? A lot of that happens. And here's a huge one. How about presented unsold leads? And how about your delighted customers? What else can you do with that data in your business? So those are some examples of data, including things like prior customers' future needs. It's just things you can use to really refine and target all the efforts you put forth in your business from a marketing standpoint. But here's the question. Where is your data? And if we look on the left there, that's overly dramatic naturally, but some companies do kind of operate like that. Some companies say, you know what, I'm going to get a little more sophisticated than a bunch of Post-it notes or file folders. So they go to like Excel and try to manage your business there. And then some companies use programs like QuickBooks. And that does a great service for companies on the financial part, but it really doesn't help with all-encompassing data needs that a company has. So nowadays, the place to be is what you're seeing on the right here. And that's an industry-specific CRM. And that's what we created, Mark, over the years, called MarketSharp. We've already given you a little bit of history of that. So what is it? It's a web-based marketing and management software system, CRM software system. Those letters, by the way, stand for Customer Relationship Management. Specifically designed, that's the key, for remodelers, contractors, and home improvement pros. And what it does, it helps track and manage all contact and job data, generates more leads. That's kind of a cool thing. Here's the huge one, converts more inquiries and leads to sales. Then it increases repeat referral business. And then finally, in doing all that, it gives you all the numbers you need to report on the performance of your business. So here's the thing. We think it's no longer an option to have what I like to call an ISCRM. I think we all understand the letters CRM. I just defined those a second ago. But the letters IS are critical in our business. And what those letters stand for is it's no longer an option to have an industry-specific CRM program in your business. Because our business is different. Our business isn't like a Fortune 500 company that, Salesforce, for example, can handle all the needs of that. Our business is very specific with how our appointments run and things such as that. So having an industry-specific solution here is where you can really make some headway. So we like to call what MarketSharp can help you do is turn this thing called data into dollars. Remember we mentioned about data as the new currency? And it helps do that by working in 4 areas of your business, the admin, marketing, sales, and the production end of your business. And then as a glue, what you have in the middle is the ability to manage all that, through the CRM. We like to say what MarketSharp helps you do is do the right things consistently. See, it's one thing to know what the right things are to do in your business. It's another thing to have the ability to pull them off and do them consistently. We also like to call MarketSharp a business in a box. What we mean by that is it's just not a capable CRM program that can do what you want it to do, but it has nothing in it until you tweak it. It's loaded up with about 340 built-in success elements ready to use that are dead on for this business. Marketing campaigns, reports, email templates, text templates, forms, nurture campaigns, calendars, scripts, all sorts of things. So you just can kind of plug in and go. Interface-wise, the way it looks to you is we work with three groups of people here. We work with a group called prospects, we work with a group called leads, and we work with a group called customers. Nothing new about that. But what we chose to do years ago is make the MarketSharp interface so it feels like you're working distinctly and separately with these three groups. Because frankly, your mission with each one of these three groups is different. So to dump all your contacts into one file called contacts and try to make heads or tails out of who's who and what's what and be efficient with that becomes more difficult. So we find that even though the data is all interrelated under the hood, so to speak, in the database, to you as the user of the software, it feels like you're working separately with prospects, leads, and customers. Okay, a little bit more about that as we dive in a little further. And your mission is to turn as many prospects into leads as you can, and as many of those leads as the customers as you can. Again, nothing new about that. Here's the process. First off, prospect for new business, generate a lead, generate an inquiry. Once that happens, get them into the leads section of MarketSharp, the red section, and we can begin working them as a lead. Then we're going to track and manage them there and do everything we can to evolve them to a customer where they turn green. And then we work on entering the customer and job information into the CRM. We track and manage that customer, help with production, service, etc. And then finally, we got all those numbers, as mentioned earlier, to report on the performance of your business. So that's the process. So we're going to dive in and take a little look at how this works. And we're going to do it in kind of an easy, laid back manner, just with some screenshots and trying to talk about some strategies here and not bore you folks with diving into the application and getting into the weeds, so to speak. So we think MarketSharp can help with 6 key areas of the business process: marketing and lead gen, lead management, conversion of leads, customer and job management, creating lifetime customers, and managing your business by the numbers. So let's begin with marketing and lead gen. Now we could go down a number of paths here. Don't have time to do all that. Just want to mention one. You know, one of the biggest opportunities we have is when we sell a job in a given neighborhood is to do whatever we can to get another job in that neighborhood. All the homes are similar. Many times the homeowners are similar, income-wise, age of homes-wise, and things such as that. So why not really do some targeted, what they call micro-marketing in that neighborhood to try to get another job for every job you install? So what we built in MarketSharp is something called Smart Mail Plus. It's pretty cool. It's kind of a new twist on an old concept. The old concept is, hey, let's market to all the neighbors around the job we just finished. And in the past, we did that with door hangers, direct mail pieces, knocking on doors, and things such as that. And that stuff is still viable today. But what we did here is we kind of used technology to step that up a bit. Here's the way it works. When you get a new customer in MarketSharp, you put them in the customer section, you say, hey, that's an area where I'd like to do a campaign to all the neighbors. So you just click on that icon I have blown up there. Immediately you get an email that says, hey, you want to do a campaign in the neighborhood, right? All you got to do is say yes. With this email you get, there's also 2 buttons on that email, a Facebook and a Twitter button. And if you click on one of those, automatically social media gets updated with information about the job you just completed, including a picture of the job. Pretty cool. At the same time, postcards are being printed and mailed for you on your behalf to the closest 50, 100, 150 homes in that neighborhood that meet the demographic profile. It has a picture of the job you just created, so that's pretty cool. It has multiple response mechanisms here. You know, there's a QR code people can scan. They can text a response, or they can go to a web page. And you can put whatever call to action you want on this postcard. This one has a consumer guide. So here's the deal. You do the job, you put a job sign in the yard, you get social media on your side, you get these direct mail pieces in the mail, and all that is done for you with the click of one button here. Now what happens is at the same time, a web page is being created for you dynamically, unique to that job. Picture of the job, a map to that particular address from the recipient of the postcard's address. So when somebody from the postcard says, you know what, I'd like to learn more. Maybe they request a call to action, in this case, the consumer guide. When they go ahead and click on that or respond in any way, again, automatically that dynamically created web page over here gets created, and that's where they land. And there's more information about the call to action. And obviously what you want to happen is for them to opt in and say, yeah, tell me more. Here's the neat part about Smart Mail Plus. You can't really see it here. You can't make it out, but every postcard that gets mailed for you has a unique code on it. And what happens is when somebody goes to that webpage, they're prompted to put in their unique code. And then behind the scenes, technology goes to work and says, oh, I get that code. That code is for this job. That's how the webpage gets created on the fly. But the other thing the code does is if somebody lands on this webpage, we know who went there, whether they respond or not. So the second somebody lands on this webpage, you get an email that says, you got a lead, follow up. Now, if they land on the webpage and go the extra mile and fill out the form and request whatever your call to action is, you get a different email that says, you got a hot lead, really follow up. So that's pretty cool how technology can do this for you. And it's all fulfilled for you. Again, all you do is click on that icon. This goes to work for you. And again, the goal is to get another job for every job you install.
Yeah. So, I really like that, Tim, because you brought up earlier on that consistency is a big challenge for people, and having this in separate tools, I think it would often go not completed, because you're manipulating Excel spreadsheets, moving your data from one platform to another to do the direct mailer. It's manual, it's time consuming. Right. So definitely something that is, the fact that you can do it with more or less a click of a button is nice. And from a marketing perspective, I like the fact that by doing something like this, that initial lead for that home that you just close, it costs you something, but by picking up another job, you start reducing that initial lead cost. So that's pretty neat.
You absolutely do. Again, the goal is to do things like this to help get another job for every job you install. And if you can accomplish that, your business is on a good path.
Yeah.
So Smart Mail Plus is pretty darn cool. All right, next, let's talk about lead management now. So in other words, what we're talking about here is anytime you get an inquiry from any source, your web strategies, Smart Mail Plus shows events once we can start doing those again. How can a CRM like MarketSharp help you here? And certainly I can talk about a zillion things here. But the kind of things that help you with lead management is help you with all your scheduling. What you're seeing here is the schedule of your sales staff. It can do all sorts of things. It can help you with routing salespeople based on distance between appointments. And it really takes a lot of the legwork out of this part of the business and getting things scheduled up and distributing leads to your salespeople. We have a mobile app that works well here, so salespeople can get their leads right on their phone. So that is pretty cool. So we're probably just going to let that lie low right now in terms of how it's helping with your lead management. And we're going to kind of skip over to the third thing that MarketSharp can do. And this is a big one. It's lead conversion. Because when you think about it, generating a lead does nothing for your company other than cost you money until it's converted. And when we talk about conversion, we're talking about conversion throughout a number of steps. First off, conversion to an appointment, and then to a demo, and then to a sale. And then we don't want to stop there. We want to take that sale and move it into repeat business and referral business. So it's really, really, really an important part of the business. And this is where many companies fall down with efficiencies. So what we're talking about here is when you get leads, let's talk about web leads. If you got a website, and I'm sure everybody does, you're probably getting leads in from the website that you got going on or whatever other web strategies you got. So what happens here is anything that's going on from your web strategy, bang, it goes right into the CRM, the lead section. And then it triggers all sorts of events automatically. It triggers your staff being alerted that, hey, you got a lead, you got to get to them literally within minutes, because statistically, if you don't, you're going to miss out. So your staff is alerted. Your person that submitted the request, they're getting communicated with via text messages, emails, maybe setting up a phone call for your staff. So it just enables everything to take place the way it should automatically. So if you work with lead aggregators like Home Advisor, Modernize, and those folks, same story. MarketSharp has great integrations with these folks that when a lead comes in from any of these, we definitely enhance the conversion process. With these kind of leads, you really need help to finesse them, because many of these people aren't sitting there with their checkbook all ready to go. They're just not. So you've got to first off get them converted to that appointment and then to a demo. So it's so important to do that. Now there's built-in scripting in MarketSharp that can help you with this to say the right things on the phone call when you're trying to convert an inquiry to a set appointment. Because you got to remember your goal. First step goal is to sell the value of the visit. And that's all different than selling your product. And many companies aren't really trained up and equipped to do that well. So MarketSharp has built in, first off, the ability to have speed with your follow-up and then skill with your follow-up with best practice scripting built in the application. So then what we want to do when we got an appointment set is you want to make sure it turns into a full demo. So how about letting MarketSharp help you warm up this prospect with lead warming? And just a couple examples here. Automatically, you can set up, when you get an appointment set, a confirmation letter that goes out confirming the appointment date and time, or a confirmation email with a picture of the salesperson that's going to come and see them, and little things like that. Text messages, same thing. Little things like that can make a huge difference in reducing anxiety with the homeowner and building great first impressions for your company. And that's going to help your demo rates. And frankly, it's going to help your closing rates because people are already starting to think good things about your company and how you're communicating with them. Certainly, lead warming can also include things like a consumer guide, a third-party consumer guide you can get in front of them before your salesperson arrives. So the idea here is to warm them up. I love that terminology, lead warming. So your salespeople are welcomed with open arms rather than closed arms. So lead warming, huge. Next, let's talk about closing sales.
Was that Indiana Jones on the bottom there on that screen, Tim?
Let me go back.
Looks like Harrison Ford.
Oh, all right. Yeah, you're right. I think it might be. I knew that, but I pulled that from somewhere. And
yeah. So I'm sure some people would be happy to see him show up.
Yep, that's right. All right, next. We're talking about closing sales now. So here's what's happened. Your CRM has helped you first off get a lead and then convert it to an appointment and then convert it to a demo. And now you got an opportunity. So you got to talk about closing sales both now and in the future. So just a couple brief comments about things you can do to help close sales now. First off, never stop sales training your staff. We could go on and on about this. A lot of people think, I don't need to do that. They've been at it a long time. Consumers change, things change. Get them the latest and greatest in sales training. Secondly, make sure your salespeople are leveraging financing options. I could spend 10 minutes just talking about this because many companies do not leverage this. What I'm talking about is oftentimes I'll ask people to use financing in their sales presentation. They say, no, we really don't offer financing, Tim. And when I ask them why not, here's what they say. They say, well, we don't have to, Tim. Our customers all pay cash. I wonder why. You're not offering them financing, so you're just missing those sales. So every price presentation your salespeople make should have a finance option attached to it. Because if you don't, and they don't have the money to pay for this, the homeowners oftentimes will just say, we'll think about it. We'll get other estimates. And it's not the real reason they didn't proceed. They don't know how they're going to pay for it. So let them know you have a monthly option for them. Get hooked up with a great finance company that can help you leverage this. Then finally, to help you close more sales now, leverage your Remodeling Magazine cost versus value study. It helps you with avoiding sticker shock for people. I used this years ago selling windows, where when I was figuring out the price, I would just let them browse through the cost versus value study that Remodeling Magazine has every year to get a glimpse and an idea what this stuff costs. Mm-hmm. They don't know. So they look through the magazine, then I come a little bit later with my price and providing it's in line with what's in here. I didn't sticker shock them. A third party did. Great tool. If anybody wants to leverage it, you can get the magazine, but I found a PDF that makes this really easy. Just print this PDF, put it on cardstock, laminate it, give it to your salespeople, and let them get this in front of your consumer while you're calculating your price. Okay, what will happen here is the homeowner will look through there and say, okay, siding, fiber cement, looks like it's an average of $17,000. So what will happen is the salesperson comes along with the price, and maybe it's $14,800, maybe it's $16,200. The homeowner is okay with that. My advice, don't use the Remodeling Magazine cost versus value study if your prices are higher than what these say, which isn't the case in many cases, or if your prices are half of what this says, because they'll start wondering about why. It's a great tool. If you'd like this, anybody listen to the call, just email me at tim@marketsharp.com and ask for the cost versus value PDF, and I'll send it out to you. All right. Closing sales now. We just talked about that. How about future? See, not everybody buys right away. As a matter of fact, statistically, what we got going on here is now buyers are about a third or 30% of all the demos that your people do. So go generate 10 leads. By the way, an average cost of an issued lead of about $400, according to our friends at Dave Yoho Associates. So go spend about $4,000, generate 10 leads, hand them off to your salespeople. They'll come back with 3 sales. What happens to the 7 that didn't buy? These are the ones that told your salespeople they're going to think about it, get other estimates and all that. Here's what we've learned through research. 60% of them end up buying a similar product from some company within a year. Wow, that's 4.2 more sales. Is it worth it to follow up with those unsold leads? And the answer is yes. But in today's world, I think what we have to do is go what I call beyond rehash. See, many of us are familiar with the rehash term, and that's typically a phone call that might follow when a salesperson can't close a deal from maybe a manager or something to try to move the needle. And I'm not saying there's anything wrong with that, but I think nowadays you got to go beyond rehash because you don't know what's going to trip their trigger. It might be a tax return check that comes a few months later where they finally got the money. So what you got to do is you got to nurture them. And rehash might be part of that. I'm talking about automated email, text message, phone contact, social media, direct mail, etc. Touch these people multiple times within the next year. I'm going to suggest about 10 times. Don't call them 10 times or they'll hate you. But an email here and there, a text here and there, a price increase notice, postcard here and there. Just be there, be there, be there, be there. And you're going to land in those homes that get those tax return checks back. And you're going to get some captured business or found business that you already paid for when you invested in that lead. And fortunately, technology can make this so easy and put it on cruise control for you. That's what you're seeing here. You can set up in MarketSharp, just basically put in an appointment result of a demo maybe, and bang, you got these 5, 6, 7, 8, 10 follow-ups queued up, ready to go over the next year. Could be a newsletter, could be that price increase notice postcard, could be a text, could be an email, combination of that stuff. You know, we have these templates built in MarketSharp. You can just use as is or tweak. This will get you a ton of extra business that in many cases is simply falling through the cracks. Okay, next, customer and job management. So we got a customer now. So what can we do to turn that customer into a lifetime customer? So first off, we want to give them an extraordinary, remarkable experience. And when I say that word remarkable, what I'm talking about is literally you want to give them experience that they want to make remarks about. That's where online reviews come in and customer feedback. So what MarketSharp can do is first off help you with production. What you're seeing on screen here is just a production view that your production managers can use within the CRM to make sure they're on track with all the jobs that are queued up throughout the processes they go through to get that job completed. But also, we can help you with triggered email communications throughout the production process. See, according to the Better Business Bureau, the number one consumer complaint that they have with contractors is lack of communication. I believe that. See, what you got going on is I heard of one window company that's currently out now 26 weeks in delivering windows to their dealers because they're just swamped. So here you are, you're a homeowner and you buy windows and you give a 30% down payment or something and you don't hear from somebody forever, you're not happy. So what you can do throughout the whole production process is you can have automatically take place is these communications to your clients. Here's the first one. Thank you. You know, your contract is in the works. Next one, your products and materials are ordered. And it goes on and on. You know, text messages to them throughout the process, keeping them up to speed. That really helps them stay on track with you, stay satisfied. So when you finally get around to installing things, they're not nitpicking stuff, but they're still very happy with you. So this is huge. Second to last year, create lifetime customers. You'll give that remarkable experience. If you do that, your repeat business, your referral business, and your reviews are going to come. And your CRM, again, can help you automate this stuff. How about proactive cross-selling strategies? So you have a place in MarketSharp in the customer section called future interest. And that's where you can put whatever else that home is a candidate for in the future. And if you're smart, you're doing a survey after you finish the job and ask them what else they might be a candidate for in the future. And they'll tell you. Might be a patio door, might be a deck, or whatever else you sell. And we put that in the CRM. And then you can go ahead and put forth marketing campaigns that are product specific, targeted to people that's told you to sell them that product in the future. What could be better in terms of highly targeted marketing there? Response rates on this kind of marketing go through the roof and can sometimes go to 20%. Because these are not people that are strangers anymore. They know you, like you, and trust you, and frankly told you to sell them this stuff in the future. So you got all the email templates, the direct mail templates, phone scripts, and all that to help you pull this off. So that's huge. Again, that's truly turning data into dollars. So next, your online reputation. First earn it, do that remarkable job, give a great customer experience. Oftentimes that has to go beyond just doing a great job with your product. Give them an experience that they'll remember and want to make remarks about. And then if you want a lot of online reviews, you got to be proactive and acquire them. Okay, don't just say to somebody who likes you, hey, would you mind putting an online review up for us? Because they'll say sure. But what they'll do is, frankly, mostly nothing because they don't know how. So you want to have like an email going out, a template that has a link to where they can offer online reviews, or work with companies like Mark who can help you with this kind of stuff. You got to acquire these and be proactive in acquiring them. And once you get the online reviews, don't keep them secret. Showcase the heck out of them. Put them everywhere. Don't make people dig on your website to find them. Okay, and I think there's a new metric we really need to focus on, like closing ratio and things such as that. But what that metric is something I call PREA, P-R-E-A, Positive Review Efficiency Average. And that is simple math, positive reviews acquired divided by completed jobs. And I'm going to suggest you have a goal as a company to get 60% of your completed jobs turned into positive online reviews. Now, you're going to have to work to do that and use some of these things I mentioned. But is it worth it? Absolutely. Let these people do the selling for you. These people meaning your customers. This is an important thing in the future. I think we all know that. When we want to go to a restaurant or a hotel, that's what we look for. Our clients want to do the same thing. So let's make it very easy for them. Finally, manage your business by the numbers. And a CRM like MarketSharp can truly help with that. Think of your car. This symbol that many of us have seen on our dashboard, it's like the kiss of death. In many cases, it comes up and you go, oh my God, the check engine light is out. And what's that about? And wouldn't it be cool if our business had something similar that would alert us to possible issues? In your car, you not only got a check engine light, you got a bunch of other lights that go on. Oil pressure, temperature, low washer fluid, things such as that. Again, wouldn't it be cool if our business had something similar to this? And the good news is, it does. It's your metrics. You can know when leads are low. You can know when you're not converting as many inquiries to appointments as you should. You can know when sales are low. You can know when your cost per lead, cost per sale, and given lead sources are out of whack. You can know when your demo rate is low. And most importantly, you can know when your profits are low. And just by monitoring the metrics of your business and having the ability to pull these out, it's going to put you in a position to make better decisions and grow your business like crazy. So yeah, you do have check business lights, just like your car has that check engine light. And these are available to you. You don't want your business turning from open to close by not really having this stuff available to you and in front of you on a daily basis. These are what we like to call KPIs, key performance indicators. All sorts of little dashboards on our MarketSharp alerting you to things like this, just like the check engine light. Here's an operating statement dashboard report that tells you how many inquiries came in, how many are turning into appointments and confirmed and issued and demoed and sales. And you can spot problems here very easily by looking at these metrics to help you in your business. So that said, a great number you want to make sure you're monitoring is net sales per lead issued here, a metric that's very easy to get out of MarketSharp. So sum it up, just 4 things maybe you didn't know you could do with your CRM, specifically MarketSharp. One thing is it's going to help you with regulation compliance. Not much talk about that anymore, but a few years ago, remember the EPA and lead paint and all that? It's still here. And you don't want to get stuck with that. So there's all sorts of stuff built in there to make sure you're compliant with these regulations. That's a big thing. How about making a CRM your own? Many people aren't aware that a program like MarketSharp, built for this industry, and this is industry-specific program, can be tweaked. You can put custom fields in there and make it adapt to what your business needs are. So that's something you should be aware. Next, and I think I'll wait with this one until we get to the next slide, but keeping your staff in sync. That's the value of these new generation CRM programs that are web-based, is all your staff members can just be kind of interconnected there. So you can kind of see what's going on, where things are status-wise, process and all that. That's just huge there, right there. So the 4th thing I want to mention is this. And what that is making sure that your CRM can connect with a bunch of other tools that you're using in the business. You might be using QuickBooks. And many of you, I'm sure, are working with Mark, the Webrunner, and maybe Home Advisor, and estimating programs like Leap and One Click Contractor, Apex Chat, some other folks. As you can see here, MarketSharp connects with a bunch of stuff and just makes your life much easier, so you're not juggling 4, 5, 6 different software programs, which frankly, doing it that way is almost worse than doing it manually. It's very frustrating. So make sure that this is an important thing when you select a solution for your business. And make sure your CRM is holistic, meaning it handles all aspects of your business, the marketing, the sales process, and the production process. What you don't want is to have one CRM do a great job with marketing, but it don't do anything for you on the back end of your business production-wise. You got to use 2 solutions. Not good. So make sure it's holistic. I think that's a big deal. So what is MarketSharp ideal for? Just a couple of quotes here. Here's a friend of ours in the Chicago area, Jim Murphy. I love what he said about MarketSharp. Since using it, our business has increased 7-fold. He's been at it a while. That wasn't a year. Greatest investment we made for our company, runs the whole shebang. Here's another friend of ours, Steve Runnekamp, Energy Swing Windows. I won't bore you with the whole quote, but I could go on, but you want to take your business to the next level, and many companies get stuck at various levels, specifically $2, $3, $4 million a year in revenue and can't move on. A tool like this can really, really help with that. So with that, Mark, let me just encourage people what they can do if they want to learn more. And then I want to close with a slide or two, and then maybe some final comments from you. So if you'd like to learn more, spend a little time with us. We like to call it a consulting session. We want to learn a little bit about your business and determine whether or not this solution can work for you. And if so, we'll help configure a package. And we got a lot of different scenarios that can be put together based on your needs. And we'll put that together for you. And we'll show you how this thing is priced in a manner where it's absolutely a no-brainer. It can't help but succeed for you on an ROI basis. So if you'd like to learn more, MarketSharp.com, or our phone number is also there. You'll learn a lot just from this consulting session and taking a look at what MarketSharp does on the inside. So a couple bits of advice. We had Bill Gates help us earlier. Here's another gentleman, Michael Gerber, best-selling author of E-Myth. He kind of sums it up this way. In order for any business to succeed, it must first become a system. In other words, not something that wings it. So the business functions exactly the same way every time, right down to the very last detail. And that's what a CRM, an industry-specific CRM like MarketSharp can do. And then finally, it's really important for you to just embrace technology. Sometimes it's easy to say, what? I just don't want to do this. I don't want anything new. You can't do it anymore. Embrace it. And I remember years ago, when I was in a different business, I was at a conference. And my business was doing okay. But the best of the best in the country were there. And I wanted to learn from them. So I took one guy aside, his name was Jim, and said, you know what? I'm going to tell you, and I got all excited. He said, Tim, I'm going to clue you in on what I like to call reality thinking. And I went, okay. He didn't know where he was going with this. And he looked at me right in the eye. He said, Tim, think about how you got your business to where it is right now and ask yourself this question. And he said, Tim, if you do what you've always done, and I think everybody watching this session knows what he said next, and he did. He said, you're going to get what you always got. And frankly, wasn't too happy about Jim's advice right there. I wanted something specific, like, hey, Tim, here's a direct mail piece. If you send this out, you're going to get a whole bunch of leads. He didn't say that. He told me if I continue doing what I've always done, I'm going to continue to get what I always got. Didn't mean that much to me then, but guess what? It's decades later, and I'm still talking about this advice. This is some of the best advice any of us can ever get. If we want to change things, if we want to step it up a bit, we've got to own up to this. But nowadays, this isn't even true anymore. Nowadays, if you do what you've always done and continue to do that, you're going to get less than you always got. You just are, for a variety of reasons. So with that, Mark, I appreciate the opportunity to spend with you guys. If anybody wants to learn more about what we do here at MarketSharp, happy to chat. So back to you, Mark.
Well, thanks, Tim. That was awesome. I can definitely attest to a lot of what you've demoed today. Anytime we have conversations with prospects or customers who are on the MarketSharp platform, one thing that is common between everyone is the degree to which they know their numbers, and in large part that's because of the fact that MarketSharp does a good job of bringing this to the forefront. And it's difficult to kind of navigate a ship if you don't have your numbers well laid out in front of you, you know, and that's what it is. And I love the point where you touch on, you know, communication being important. You know, with everything going on today, there's delays, and if you're not communicating that effectively, your user experience, you know, goes out the window. And I mean, people buy online today, and what happens when you buy online? You get that thank you notification, and then let's say it's clothing. You know, you get an email a couple of days later, hey, you know, your stuff just hit print, it's ready, and then hey, it's in transit. And even the shipping companies now, they're updating you as you go, and it's almost like you're part of the journey. And so this almost becomes an expectation. And so even in home improvement, if people can kind of mimic that, I mean, it's the norm. It's what people are used to nowadays. So I love, you know, the 6 different aspects of the CRM that you touched on. I think people watching have to remember that, you know, all the technology in the world is useless if you don't put the right time and resources behind it, you know. So we've seen people with, you know, great CRMs, and they're just not invested. And so they point fingers at the CRM after a while, but it's have you put the time into setting up all the templates and are using the features and the functionality? So from my perspective, I would say that's an important part of using powerful technology like this. It's making sure that you are committed to it.
You know, that's a good point. You know, if we talk about the 6 things that we brought to everybody's attention today and what the program does, I guess what I'd like to say is MarketSharp, let's talk about 6.5 things that it does. And the first 6 are the ones we mentioned, but the other half is not a half. It's half the success. And that's the people that are using it.
That's
and
right.
The human beings that are, like Bill Gates said, gathering, managing, and using this data. So you're absolutely right, Mark.
Yeah, good stuff. Well, Tim, I want to thank you again for coming back to join us on the Academy. It's always great to have you. Love your presentations. And I urge anyone who is contemplating implementing a CRM, if they're on QuickBooks or you know, Excel, or just a simple archaic, you know, carbon copy notepad on the dash of the truck, get technology like this, reach out, at least have a conversation, book a consulting call. And for everyone who's watching, if you like this content, please do us a favor, subscribe, hit the bell, get notified anytime we publish. Tim, thank you again, sir. Always nice to chat with you.
Thank you as well, Mark. Take care.
Bye-bye.